All right, so this is pretty similar, but now we're going to multiply a decimal by a decimal. Make sure you've watched the video I put right before this, to the left of this video before you watch this one. So since you've watched that video, we can now move on, and we're going to multiply 4 and 8/10 times 7 and 2/10. And we're just going to take a look at this before we start the next problem. Remember that we don't have to line up the decimal point. Instead, we just line up the number on the the last number on the very right, the last number with the last number. But here, it just so happens that the decimals line up, but remember that that's not necessarily how it always works out. So we'll multiply like normal. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Add our 0. Now we move to the next place value. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 5 is 33. They added them together. They got 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have to figure out where is that decimal going. We took a look, and there's one number to the right of the decimal point here and one number to the right of the decimal point here. So together, if there's 1 and 1, that means together there are 2 numbers to the right of the decimal point. And that means we are going to move our decimal 2 places to the left. So the answer would be 34 and 56 hundredths. Now let's try an example by ourselves over here. So I have 3 and 1/10 times, and then I need to line up my last number. So my 5 goes here, 0, 0, and then 0.0. Remember that you can flip-flop these numbers. You don't have to do 3 and 1/10 times 5 thousandths. You can do 5 thousandths times 3 and 1/10, and you'll get the same answer. So you choose what works best for you. I'm going to go ahead and do mine. So I have 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. And then I look and I see the rest of my numbers are zeros. So no matter what I do, everything after this is going to be 0. For example, I would put a 0 here and move to this number, and it was 0 times 1 is 0, 0 times 3 is 0. And I could keep doing that, but it's kind of a waste of time. So if all your numbers left are 0, like this one, then you can move on and start adding. So I can just go ahead and add these zeros. Since I did that, and I end up with 155. Well, I know that 3 and 1/10 times 5 thousandths isn't 155. I have the right numbers. I just don't have the right decimal point placement yet. So what I'm going to do is see how many numbers are to the right of the decimal point. So here's my decimal point, and I have one number here to the right. So I'm going to write that over here. I have one number to the right of the decimal point. Now here, I have 1, 2, 3 numbers to the right of the decimal point. Oops, let me redo that. I have 3 numbers to the right of the decimal point. So together, if I added those up, that would be, I have 4 numbers to the right of the decimal point, which means when I find my answer, I need to move my decimal point from right to left 4 times. So I always start at the very end, right? Right here, starts here, and I move 4 times. So 1, 2, 3. I still have to move it one more time, and my decimal goes here. Now I moved it more times than the numbers I had. So what I have to do is I have to fill this spot in with a 0. So I'm going to end up with 0 point and then 0.155. All right, so if you have to move your decimal point more times than there are numbers, then you just fill in those placeholders with a 0.